Welcome to the narrated novel where books aren't just read, they're lived. Here, every story becomes a journey, every lesson becomes a spark, and every word is narrated to inspire your mind and transform your life. Today, we're unlocking one of the most life-changing books ever written on wealth and mindset, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This isn't just a book about finance, it's a book about life. Because money is never just about numbers, it's about your choices, your emotions, and the story you tell yourself. So stay with me as we journey chapter by chapter through lessons that can reshape not only your wallet, but your future. Money, it's something we all deal with every single day, yet few of us truly understand how it shapes our decisions, our happiness, and even our relationships. Why is it that we often know what's best for our wallets, but still make choices that sabotage our financial future? Welcome to the Psychology of Money, where we uncover the hidden forces, our emotions, habits, and mindsets that influence how we earn, save, and spend. Introduction. This book isn't just about budgets or investments. It's about the invisible link between our minds and our money. Every financial choice we make is influenced by emotions, old beliefs, and even childhood experiences. Sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's greed, and sometimes it's the pressure of society telling us what success should look like. The journey begins with one powerful truth. To master money, you first need to master yourself. By recognizing your habits, your emotional triggers, and your personal money stories, you can shift from being controlled by money to being in control of it. Throughout this series, we'll explore not just how to grow wealth, but how to create a healthy, balanced mindset where money serves you, not the other way around. So let's dive in. Chapter 1. Understanding the psychology of. Why do we sometimes make money choices that don't make sense? The answer isn't always numbers, it's psychology. Money isn't only about dollars and cents. It's deeply connected to emotions like fear, greed, and pride. These emotions often override logic. For example, an investor might feel a rush of excitement when a stock rises and start taking bigger risks, only to panic and sell too quickly when the market falls. The chapter explains that our upbringing, culture, and personal experiences all shape how we see money. Someone raised in financial hardship might crave security, while someone from a wealthy background may feel more relaxed about spending. The key insight here is emotional intelligence. Learning to recognize your emotions and balance them with rational thinking. Emotions aren't the enemy, they can guide us. For example, ambition and optimism push us to chase big goals. But fear or greed, if unchecked, can sabotage long-term success. Another critical lesson is about delayed gratification. In today's world of instant rewards, being able to resist small pleasures for bigger future gains is one of the most powerful money skills you can develop. The chapter also introduces psychological biases, invisible mental shortcuts that trick us. For example, loss aversion. We hate losing money more than we enjoy gaining it. Endowment effect. We overvalue things just because we own them. Herd mentality. We follow the crowd, even if it leads to bad investments. By understanding these biases, we can pause, reflect, and make smarter choices instead of reacting on impulse. Emotions drive money decisions. Learn to recognize them. Delayed gratification is a superpower for wealth building. Psychological biases trick us. Awareness is the first step to avoiding them. Transition to Chapter 2. So now that we know emotions and biases shape our money mindset, let's go deeper. One of the biggest emotional barriers we all face is fear and anxiety about money. In Chapter 2, we'll learn how to overcome it. Chapter 2. Overcoming fear and anxiety about finances. Have you ever felt that sinking feeling when looking at a bill, or the stress of checking your bank balance? You're not alone. Fear and anxiety about money affect millions of people, and this fear often holds us back more than money itself. Financial fear is one of the biggest psychological barriers to wealth. It keeps people from making decisions, from investing, or even from talking about money openly. This chapter reminds us that fear doesn't have to control us, it can be managed and transformed. The first step is awareness. Notice your personal triggers. Maybe it's opening a credit card bill, discussing money with your partner, or thinking about retirement. Write these down in a journal. Once you identify what causes stress, you can face it with clarity. The second strategy is building a support system. Money fear grows in silence. Sharing concerns with a trusted friend, mentor, or financial advisor can help you see solutions you might have missed. Another powerful tool is financial education. Much of our anxiety comes from not understanding money. By learning how debt, savings, and investments work, you shift from being afraid of the unknown to feeling empowered. The chapter also highlights the importance of small steps. Instead of setting overwhelming goals like, I need to save a fortune, break it down. Save a small amount every week or pay off one bill at a time. Every small win reduces fear and builds confidence. One mindset shift is especially important. Redefining failure. Many people fear mistakes, but financial setbacks are part of the learning curve. Instead of seeing them as disasters, see them as lessons that make you smarter and stronger. The author also recommends mindfulness practices, meditation, deep breathing, or even gratitude journaling. These calm the nervous system and help you make financial choices with clarity instead of panic. Gratitude, in particular, shifts your focus from scarcity, I don't have enough, to abundance, I already have value in my life. Identify your money triggers. Awareness reduces fear. Break down big financial goals into small, achievable steps. Education and mindfulness turn anxiety into empowerment. Failure is not the end, it's feedback that makes you stronger. Transition to Chapter 3. Once fear is under control, the next step is building positive financial habits. Because habits, not one-time decisions, determine your financial future. That's what we'll explore in Chapter 3. Chapter 3. The power of financial habits. Your financial future isn't built in one big. It's built in the small choices you make every single day. Habits, not luck, create lasting wealth. Financial habits are like the foundation of a house. Strong habits protect you during storms, while weak ones make your financial life fragile. The good news? Habits can be changed. The chapter explains that positive habits free you from stress and put you on a path to security. Simple things like tracking expenses, saving a percentage of your income automatically, and reviewing your goals regularly create a sense of control. One powerful strategy is automation. When you automate savings or investments, you remove temptation and make wealth building effortless. Imagine paying yourself first, every single month, before you even touch your money. Another habit is defining success on your own terms. Many people tie success to big salaries or luxury purchases, but real success is reaching your personal financial goals. Whether it's being debt-free, buying your first home, or simply having peace of mind. The chapter also reminds us to practice gratitude. Often, overspending comes from chasing happiness through material things. Gratitude shifts your mindset. When you appreciate what you already have, you're less tempted by impulsive purchases. At the same time, we need to break negative financial patterns. Maybe you avoid checking your bank account because it causes stress. Or maybe you overspend when you're emotional. The first step is recognizing these patterns, then replacing them with healthier ones like reviewing your finances weekly or redirecting emotional energy into a productive hobby. Importantly, financial mistakes don't define you. They're opportunities to learn. Forgive yourself for past money missteps. Take the lesson and move forward stronger. Finally, the chapter highlights accountability, sharing your financial goals with a trusted person, a friend, spouse, or advisor, keeps you disciplined. And don't forget to celebrate small wins. Even paying off one credit card or saving your first $1,000 deserves recognition because progress fuels motivation. Positive money habits, practiced daily, create long-term security. Automating savings and investments makes wealth building effortless. Redefine success on your own terms, not society's. Break negative patterns by replacing them with intentional routines. Small wins add up. Celebrate them to build momentum. Transition to Chapter 4. Once your habits are in place, the next challenge is controlling your emotions while spending. Because sometimes, it's not about what we need, it's about what we feel. Let's uncover the emotional triggers behind our spending in Chapter 4. Chapter 4: Emotional Triggers in Spending. Why do we sometimes buy things we don't need, with money we don't have, to impress people we don't even like? The answer lies in our emotional triggers. Spending isn't always about logic. It's often emotional. This chapter explains how emotions like stress, sadness, boredom, or even celebration can push us to spend impulsively. Many people even use retail therapy as a way to temporarily feel better. But the relief is short-lived. That excitement fades quickly, and what remains is regret and sometimes debt. The key is to identify your personal spending triggers. For some, it's stress. Swiping a card becomes a distraction from problems. For others, it's loneliness or boredom, where shopping fills an emotional void. Some people overspend when they're with certain friends or in certain environments, like malls or online shopping apps that make buying effortless. Technology makes this even harder. With one-click shopping and targeted ads, our environment is designed to trigger spending. That's why we must build awareness and control strategies. One simple strategy is the 24-hour rule. When you feel the urge to buy something, wait at least a day before deciding. Often, the emotional impulse fades and you realize you don't need it. Another method is to keep a spending journal. Write down not just what you bought, but what you were feeling at that moment. Over time, you'll notice patterns. Maybe you overspend when you're tired, stressed, or seeking approval from others. The chapter also emphasizes mindfulness. Before making a purchase, pause and ask, am I buying this out of need or emotion? Does this align with my financial goals? Replacing emotional spending with healthier coping strategies, like exercise, hobbies, or even simply calling a friend, helps break the cycle. Lastly, remember the influence of societal pressure. We live in a culture that equates consumption with success. Recognizing that much of this is marketing and social comparison frees you to define success in your own way. Spending is often emotional, not logical. Know your personal triggers. Use tools like the 24 hours rule and the spending journal to regain control. Replace shopping as an emotional outlet with healthier habits. Don't let societal pressure define your financial choices. Write your own definition of success. Transition to Chapter 5. Now that we've uncovered the emotions behind spending, let's zoom out. Our culture and society also shape how we think about money. In Chapter 5, we'll explore how social norms and cultural myths influence our financial behavior. Chapter 5: The Influence of Culture and Society on Money. Have you ever felt pressured to buy something just because everyone else was doing it? Or maybe you've believed that success means driving a certain car or living in a certain kind of house. That's not just personal choice. That's culture influencing your money. Money isn't just personal, it's cultural. The way we see, use, and value money is heavily shaped by the society we grow up in. From a young age, we're surrounded by social norms. The idea that spending on weddings, festivals, or luxury goods is a marker of success. In many cultures, money is tied to status and identity, which pressures people to spend more than they can afford just to fit in. The chapter explains that society often promotes myths about money. For example, that owning expensive things equals happiness, that debt is normal and unavoidable, or that success is measured only by material possessions. These cultural myths can trap us in cycles of overspending and comparison. The problem with comparison is there's always someone richer. If you base happiness on keeping up with others, you'll never feel satisfied. But here's the truth. Money should serve your values, not society's expectations. Instead of following cultural pressure, the key is to ask yourself, what truly matters to me? Maybe it's freedom, security, family, or experiences. Once you know your values, you can make decisions aligned with your own purpose, not someone else's standards. The chapter also talks about challenging negative cultural narratives. For instance, in some families, talking about money is seen as taboo, but avoiding conversations creates more financial problems. Breaking these patterns, openly discussing budgeting, saving, and planning with loved ones leads to healthier money behavior. At the same time, culture can be positive. community-based saving groups, family support systems, or cultural values of generosity can strengthen financial resilience. The key is to keep the parts of culture that empower you while rejecting the myths that hold you back. Culture and society strongly influence how we view and use money. Beware of cultural myths. Expensive possessions don't equal happiness. Define your financial success based on your values, not social pressure. Break unhealthy cultural patterns, but keep the positive aspects that support financial growth. Transition to Chapter 6. Now that we've seen how society shapes our money mindset, let's focus on something more personal, how we think about saving and investing. Because understanding the psychology of building wealth is the key to lasting financial freedom. That's what we'll explore in Chapter 6. Chapter 6, The Psychology of Saving and Investing. Everyone knows they should save and invest, but why do so many people struggle to actually do it? The answer isn't math, it's mindset. Saving and investing aren't just about numbers in a bank account. They're about psychology. Our ability to save often depends less on income and more on discipline, patience, and mindset. The chapter introduces the idea of a saving mindset. People who save consistently see money as a tool for security and freedom, not just for spending. Saving isn't about deprivation. It's about creating options for your future self. A common trap is the belief that I'll save when I earn more. But research shows that without a saving habit, higher income usually just leads to higher expenses. The solution is to build the habit now, no matter how small the amount. The chapter also explores the psychology of investing. Successful investing isn't about predicting the market. It's about managing emotions like fear and greed. 16 Fear makes people avoid investing or sell too quickly during downturns. Greed pushes people to chase hot stocks or risky trends. Instead, smart investors practice patience and discipline. They stick to long-term strategies, diversify, and avoid being swayed by daily market noise. One of the most important lessons is behavioral investing, the idea that your mindset matters more than your knowledge. Even a simple strategy, followed with discipline, beats a perfect strategy abandoned due to panic or impatience. The chapter also reminds us that saving and investing work best with automation. Automatically setting aside money removes the need for willpower. Over time, these small, consistent contributions grow through the power of compounding, turning today's small steps into tomorrow's wealth. Saving is less about income and more about mindset and discipline. Start small. Consistent habits matter more than big one-time efforts. Investing success depends on managing fear and greed, not predicting the market. Patience and long-term thinking are the true superpowers of wealth building. Automate savings and investments to stay consistent without relying on willpower. Transition to Chapter 7. Now that we've explored saving and investing, let's take a deeper look at something even more personal, the link between self-worth and wealth. Because how you see yourself often determines how you handle money. Chapter 7. The connection between self-worth and wealth. Do you believe you deserve to be wealthy? Your answer to that question may be shaking your financial reality more than you think. Money and self-worth are closely linked. Many people unknowingly tie their financial decisions to how they feel about themselves. If you have low self-esteem, you might avoid opportunities, undercharge for your work, or doubt your ability to manage money. On the other hand, strong self-worth often leads to confident, empowered financial choices. The chapter explains the idea of money self-esteem. If you see yourself as capable and deserving, you're more likely to take bold but smart financial actions, like negotiating a raise, starting a business, or investing for the future. But if you believe deep down that you'll never be good with money, you may unconsciously sabotage yourself. Building money confidence starts with self-awareness. Notice the beliefs you've inherited, maybe from childhood, culture, or past experiences. Ask yourself, do I believe money is something I can control or something that controls me? Do I feel worthy of financial abundance? The chapter encourages us to reframe limiting beliefs. Instead of thinking, I'm bad with money, shift to, I'm learning to manage money better every day. This small mental shift builds confidence over time. Another practical step is celebrating financial wins, no matter how small. Paid off a credit card? Saved an extra $50? Acknowledge it. Recognizing progress reinforces the belief that you can make good financial decisions. The author also emphasizes the importance of separating self-worth from net worth. Your value as a person isn't determined by how much money you make or how many possessions you own. True wealth comes from aligning money decisions with your values, not using money to prove your worth to others. Self-worth influences every financial decision you make. Challenge limiting B. Money and replace them with empowering ones. Celebrate small wins to build confidence in your financial journey. Remember, your self-worth is not your net worth. Money is a tool, not your identity. Transition to Chapter 8. Now that we've explored how self-worth affects wealth, let's look at another big influence, our relationships. Money can bring couples together or drive them apart. In Chapter 8, we'll uncover how to navigate money in relationships. Chapter 8. Money and relationships. They say love makes the world go round, but money often decides how smooth that ride will be. In fact, money disagreements are one of the leading causes of conflict in relationships. Money doesn't just affect individuals, it deeply impacts relationships. Couples, friends, and even families often have different money beliefs, shaped by their upbringing and experiences. When these beliefs clash, conflict can arise. The chapter highlights two key areas: financial conversation. Many people avoid talking about money with their partner because it feels uncomfortable or unromantic. But silence creates bigger problems later. Healthy relationships require open conversations about budgeting, goals, debts, and spending habits. Instead of blaming or criticizing, focus on teamwork. How can we handle this together? One helpful approach is to set regular money check-ins, short, scheduled talks where both partners review expenses, savings, and future plans. This builds trust and prevents surprises. Managing money conflicts, disagreements are natural. One partner may be a saver, the other a spender. Instead of seeing this as a weakness, the chapter suggests finding balance. Savers bring stability, while spenders bring enjoyment. Together, they can create a plan that meets both needs. Another common issue is secrecy. Hiding purchases, debts, or accounts. Known as financial infidelity, this erodes trust. The solution is transparency. Even if mistakes made, honesty allows the couple to rebuild stronger foundations. The chapter also stresses that relationships are about more than money. Sometimes, conflicts about money are really about deeper issues like control, trust, or insecurity. Recognizing these underlying emotions helps couples resolve problems at the root. Finally, it reminds us that shared goals strengthen bonds, whether it's saving for a home, planning a trip, or building retirement security. Working toward a financial goal as a team turns money from a source of stress into a source of connection. Open, honest conversations about money are essential in relationships. Differences in spending and saving styles can be balanced, not battled. Transparency prevents financial secrecy and builds long-term trust. Shared financial goals strengthen both love and stability. Transition to Chapter 9. Now that we've looked at how money affects relationships, let's go back in time to childhood, because the money lessons we absorbed as kids often shape our financial choices as adults. That's what Chapter 9 is all about. 2. Chapter 9. The impact of childhood experiences on financial behavior. Have you ever wondered why you handle money the way you do? The answer often lies in your childhood. The money lessons we absorb as kids shape the financial choices we make as adults. From an early age, we pick up money habits, not through formal education, but by watching parents, relatives, and our environment. If you grew up in a household where money was scarce, you might value security above all else. If you grew up in abundance, you might feel more relaxed or even careless with spending. The chapter explains that childhood experiences create money scripts, unconscious beliefs that guide our financial behavior. Some common ones include, money is hard to get, so I must hold on to it tightly. Spending equals happiness. I'll never be good with money. These scripts often run in the background of our minds, influencing decisions long into adulthood. For example, someone raised in financial instability may avoid investing because they fear loss. Another person may overspend because they were taught that showing wealth equals success. The good news is that these beliefs can be rewritten. The first step is awareness. Reflect on your childhood. Ask yourself, what messages did I hear about money growing up? Did my parents talk openly about finances, or was it a taboo subject? Do I carry any fears or guilt from those early experiences? Once you recognize these patterns, you can reprogram them. Instead of letting old scripts control you, replace them with empowering beliefs. For example, from "I'll never be good with money," I am capable of learning and growing financially. From "Money always causes stress," money can create security and opportunity. The chapter also emphasizes self-forgiveness. Many people repeat unhealthy financial behaviors because they're stuck in guilt or shame about the past. By forgiving yourself, you release the emotional weight and open the door to healthier choices. Finally, breaking these patterns doesn't just benefit you. It creates a new financial legacy for future generations. When you heal your money mindset, you pass on healthier beliefs to your children and community. Childhood experiences shape lifelong financial habits and beliefs. Identify the money scripts you inherited from your past. Replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones that support your goals. Forgive past mistakes and break negative financial cycles for future generations. Transition to Chapter 10. Now that we understand how childhood shapes our money mindset, it's time to take control of the future. In Chapter 10, we'll explore how to set meaningful financial goals, goals that align with your values and key to your money. Chapter 10, Setting Financial Goals with Purpose. Most people set financial goals like saving a certain amount or buying a house. But here's the real question. Do your goals align with your life purpose? If not, even reaching them may leave you unfulfilled. Setting goals isn't just about numbers. It's about values. Many people chase goals that society sets for them: a bigger home, a luxury car, or hitting a certain salary. But true financial success comes when your goals reflect what's important to you personally. The chapter introduces the idea of value-based goals. For example, if freedom matters most to you, your goal might be early retirement or building passive income. If family is your priority, your goal could be saving for children's education or creating generational wealth. If experiences matter more than possessions, your goal may focus on travel or personal growth. Once you identify your values, you can craft financial goals that feel motivating. The chapter also offers practical techniques for goal setting. Be specific. Instead of "I want to save money," say "I will save $5,000 in 2 years." Break it down. Divide big goals into smaller milestones like saving $200 each month. Make it measurable. Track progress so you can celebrate achievements along the way. Stay flexible. Life changes, so review your goals regularly and adjust if needed. Another key idea is that goals should create purpose, not pressure. If your goals feel like a burden, you're less likely to stick with them. But if they align with your dreams, they'll energize you. The chapter ends with a reminder. Goals are not just about wealth accumulation, but wealth direction. Money should move you closer to the life you want, not just add numbers to your account. Set goals based on personal values, not societal expectations. Be specific, measurable, and break goals into smaller steps. Review and adjust goals as life evolves. Financial goals should give purpose to money, not pressure. Transition to Chapter 11. Now that we've learned how to set meaningful goals, let's talk about the mindset required to achieve them. In Chapter 11, we'll discover how a growth mindset in money matters can unlock true financial success. Chapter 11, The Role of Mindset in Financial Success. Two people can have the same income, same opportunities, and same resources, yet one thrives financially while the other struggles. Why? The difference often comes down to mindset. Your mindset is the lens through which you view money. If you believe opportunities are limited, You'll act cautiously and miss chances. If you believe you can grow, adapt, and learn, you'll find ways to create wealth even in tough times. The chapter contrasts two approaches: fixed mindset, I'm just not good with money, or I'll never get ahead. People with this mindset avoid challenges, fear mistakes, and often stay stuck in the same patterns. Growth mindset, I can learn, improve, and get better with money. This mindset embraces challenges, learns from setbacks, and constantly adapts. Financial success doesn't come from avoiding mistakes, but from learning and adjusting. For example, a failed investment isn't proof that you're bad with money. It's feedback, a lesson to guide smarter decisions in the future. The chapter also stresses the power of self-talk. If you constantly say, I can't save, I'm terrible with money, you reinforce that belief. But reframing your inner dialogue to, I'm learning how to manage my money better, plants seeds of confidence and growth. Another key principle is resilience. A strong mindset allows you to bounce back from financial setbacks, whether it's losing a job, a failed business, or unexpected expenses. Instead of giving up, resilient people rebuild and often come back stronger. The author encourages practicing long-term thinking. A growth mindset looks beyond short-term struggles and focuses on the bigger picture: financial independence, freedom, and security. A growth mindset leads to financial success. A fixed mindset keeps you stuck. Mistakes are not failures, they're lessons that build wisdom. Positive self-talk strengthens confidence in money management. Resilience and long-term thinking turn challenges into opportunities. Transition to Chapter 12. Now that we know how mindset drives financial success, let's look at something equally important: financial education. In Chapter 12, we'll explore how learning about money can change not just your knowledge, but your confidence and psychology. Chapter 12, Financial Education and its Psychological Effects. Why do some people feel confident with money, while others feel anxious or helpless? Often, the difference is financial education. Money touches every part of our lives, yet most of us never learn how to manage it in school. Without financial education, people rely on trial and error, social media, or family habits. This lack of knowledge creates anxiety and poor decision-making. The chapter explains that financial education has two major effects. Confidence. When you understand the basics, like budgeting, debt management, saving, and investing, money stops being scary. Instead of avoiding financial tasks, you approach them with clarity. Education removes the mystery around money and gives you confidence to take action. Freedom from myths. Many money problems come from false beliefs. Debt is just a normal part of life. Investing is only for rich people. I'll never be able to understand finance. Education helps you challenge and replace these myths with facts. For example, you learn that debt can be managed, investing is accessible to anyone, and financial literacy is a skill anyone can buy. The chapter also emphasizes the importance of continuous learning. Money rules, markets, and tools are always changing. Staying informed through books, courses, podcasts, or mentors keeps your mindset sharp. Another key benefit of financial education is reduced stress. When you understand your options, you stop making emotional decisions based on fear or confusion. Instead, you make rational choices that support your goals. Finally, the chapter highlights that financial education is not just personal, it's generational. Teaching children about money early prevents them from repeating the same mistakes and creates healthier money habits for the future. Financial education builds confidence and reduces money anxiety. Knowledge helps you challenge harmful money myths. Continuous learning keeps you prepared for a changing financial world. Teaching financial literacy to the next generation creates long-term impact. Transition to Chapter 13. Now that we've seen how education empowers us, let's explore another powerful tool: mindfulness. In Chapter 13, we'll learn how being present and aware can transform the way you handle money. Chapter 13. The role of mindfulness in money management. Imagine if every financial decision you made was intentional. not driven by fear, stress, or impulse. That's the power of mindfulness in money management. Mindfulness is simply the practice of being present and aware. Applied to money, it means slowing down, observing your thoughts and emotions, and making choices that align with your values instead of reacting automatically. The chapter explains that many financial mistakes happen when we act on autopilot. Swiping a card without thinking, clicking buy now because of an ad, investing out of fear of missing out. Mindfulness interrupts this autopilot. Before making a decision, you pause and ask, why am I making this choice? Does this purchase bring me closer to or further from my goals? One practical tool is mindful spending. This doesn't mean restricting every dollar. It means being aware of where your money goes and ensuring it reflects your priorities. For example, if family and experiences matter to you, spend more on trips together and less on random impulse buys. Another practice is gratitude. By focusing on what you already have, you shift from scarcity thinking, I don't have enough, to abundance thinking, I have enough for now, and I'm growing. Gratitude reduces the urge for unnecessary spending and helps you feel financially at peace. The chapter also highlights mindful investing. Instead of reacting to market swings with panic or greed, mindfulness allows you to stay calm, follow your long-term plan, and avoid impulsive decisions. Mindfulness also reduces stress. Financial worries often come from projecting worst-case scenarios into the future. By staying present and tackling step at a time, you feel more in control. Mindfulness means making money choices with awareness, not autopilot. Mindful spending ensures your money aligns with your values. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Mindful investing helps you stay calm and disciplined in the long run. Transition to Chapter 14. Now that we've seen how mindfulness can transform money management, let's look at something equally powerful: the stories we tell ourselves about money. In Chapter 14, we'll uncover how these personal money stories shape our financial destiny. Chapter 14. The stories we tell ourselves about money. Money isn't just numbers in a bank account. It's also the story we tell ourselves about what money means. And those stories can either empower us or limit us. Every person has a money story, a personal narrative built from childhood experiences, cultural influences, and past financial events. These stories act like a lens through which we suffer, guiding our choices, often without us realizing it. For example, someone who grew up in poverty may carry the story, money is scarce, so I must cling to it. Someone from a wealthy background might carry the story, money always comes easily. A person who faced financial failure may think, I'll never recover, so why even try? The problem is, these stories aren't always true, but when we believe them, they become self-fulfilling prophecies. If you believe money is scarce, you might avoid opportunities out of fear. If you believe you're bad with money, you might never take the time to learn and grow. The good news is, stories can be rewritten. The chapter suggests steps to challenge and reshape your money story. Identify your current story. Write down the messages you believe about money. Ask where it came from. Did it come from parents, society, or past mistakes? Challenge its truth. Is this belief really accurate, or is it just an old script? Rewrite the story. Replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones, like I am capable of building wealth. Money can create freedom, not fear. Every mistake is a lesson, not a failure. Another insight is that money stories affect not only spending and saving, but also self-worth, career choices, and relationships. Recognizing and reshaping these stories opens the door to new opportunities and healthier financial habits. Ultimately, you are the author of your financial story. You don't have to repeat the script you inherited. You can write a new one that aligns with your dreams and values. Everyone has a money story that shapes financial behavior. Many stories are inherited or based on past events, not absolute truth. Identifying and challenging old stories allows you to create new, empowering ones. You are the author of your financial story. You can rewrite it anytime. Transition to Chapter 15. Now that we've uncovered the hidden stories behind our money mindset, let's explore how emotions like fear and greed play into investing. In Chapter 15, we'll learn how to keep emotions in check when making big financial decisions. Chapter 15: The Influence of Emotions on Investment Decisions. Investing should be about logic, strategy, and numbers, but in reality, it's often driven by two powerful emotions: fear and greed. When it comes to investing, human psychology often works against us. Instead of making rational, long-term decisions, people let short-term emotions take control. The chapter explains two of the biggest emotional drivers. Fear. Fear shows up when markets fall. Investors panic, sell their assets too quickly, and lock in losses, even though history shows markets usually recover over time. Fear also keeps people from investing at all. They worry about losing money, so they never give themselves the chance to grow wealth. Greed. Greed kicks in when markets are booming. People chase hot stocks, risky trends, or investments they don't fully understand, hoping to get rich quickly. This often leads to bubbles, and when the bubble bursts, losses follow. The problem isn't the market, it's our emotional reactions. Successful investors know that discipline beats emotion. They stick to their long-term plan, even when emotions scream otherwise. The chapter suggests a few strategies to control emotions in investing. Have a clear plan. Know your goals, risk tolerance, and timeline before you invest. Diversify. Spread investments to reduce risk and avoid panic when one asset drops. Automate contributions. Regular investing removes the temptation to time the market. Limit noise. Constant news and social media updates trigger emotional reactions. Smart investors tune out the hype. Another key insight is patience. The greatest wealth often comes not from brilliant decisions, but from holding steady over decades. Compounding rewards those who stay calm and consistent. Fear and greed are the biggest emotional traps in investing. Selling in panic or chasing hype leads to poor results. A disciplined plan, diversification, and automation keep emotions in check. Patience and long-term consistency are the real secrets to investment success. Transition to Chapter 16. Now that we've seen how emotions influence investing, let's look at a tool that can help us control those emotions: financial planning. In Chapter 16, we'll learn how planning provides clarity and peace of mind. Chapter 16: The Importance of Financial Planning. Most people don't plan to fail financially, they simply fail to plan. Without a roadmap, money decisions become random, and stress takes over. Financial planning is the process of creating a clear roadmap for your money. Instead of reacting to every expense or crisis, you prepare in advance, which reduces stress and builds confidence. The chapter explains that financial planning is powerful for three main reasons. Clarity. Planning gives you a big picture view of your finances. You know where your money is coming from, where it's going, and how it supports your goals. This clarity helps you avoid wasteful spending and prioritize what matters most. Control. Without a plan, money often disappears. A budget or spending plan ensures you're telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Control also comes from anticipating future needs, like retirement, emergencies, or big purchases. Confidence. Perhaps the greatest benefit of planning is peace of mind. When you know you're on track to meet your goals, you worry less. Planning reduces financial anxiety because you're not leaving everything to chance. The chapter also breaks down what a good financial plan should include: a budget that reflects your values and lifestyle, an emergency fund to handle unexpected events, a debt repayment strategy if you carry loans, a savings and investment plan for long-term goals, insurance and protection to safeguard against risks, retirement planning to ensure financial freedom later in life. Another insight is that financial planning isn't one and done. Life changes, careers, relationships, health, and goals evolve. A strong plan is flexible, reviewed regularly, and adjusted when needed. The author also points out that planning creates balance. It's not about restricting yourself, but about finding harmony between enjoying life today and preparing for tomorrow. Financial planning provides clarity, control, and confidence. A good plan covers budgeting, saving, debt, investing, insurance, and retirement. Plans must be flexible, and reviewed regularly as life changes. Planning isn't about restriction. It's about balance and peace of mind. Transition to Chapter 17. Now that we understand the power of planning, let's take it one step further. In Chapter 17, we'll explore how behavioral biases, the hidden quirks of our mind, often influence financial decisions more than logic. Chapter 17. Behavioral biases in financial decision-making. Have you ever wondered why smart people still make dumb money decisions? It's not about intelligence. It's about behavioral biases hardwired into our brains. Humans aren't perfectly rational when it comes to money. Instead, we rely on mental shortcuts or biases that helped our ancestors survive, but often hurt us in modern finance. The chapter highlights some of the most common behavioral biases. Loss aversion. We fear losses more than we value gains. For example, losing $100 feels twice as painful as gaining $100 feels good. This bias makes people overly cautious, avoiding investments even when the long-term odds are in their favor. Overconfidence bias. Many people believe they're smarter investors than they actually are. This leads to risky bets, frequent trading, or ignoring professional advice. Herd mentality. When everyone else is buying or selling, we feel pressured to do the same. This drives bubbles, buying when prices are high, and crashes, selling when prices are low. Anchoring. We fixate on the first number we see, like a stock's past high price, and let it influence decisions, even when it's no longer relevant. Present bias. We value immediate rewards more than future benefits. That's why saving for retirement feels harder than spending money today. These biases show that knowledge alone isn't enough. Self-awareness is key. By recognizing your biases, you can create systems to protect yourself. The chapter suggests strategies to overcome biases. Automate savings and investments to bypass emotional decision-making. Set clear long-term goals to stay focused during market ups and downs. Seek outside perspectives. A mentor, advisor, or even a trusted friend can challenge your blind spots. Pause before making big financial moves, giving your rational brain time to catch up with your emotions. Behavioral biases influence financial decisions more than pure logic. Loss aversion, overconfidence, herd mentality, anchoring, and present bias are the most common traps. Awareness and systems, like automation and accountability, help counter these biases. Rational planning beats emotional reactions in the long run. Transition to Chapter 18. Now that we've uncovered the hidden biases in our decision-making, let's look at how to balance two important aspects of money: risk and security. In Chapter 18, we'll explore how finding the right balance leads to lasting financial stability. Chapter 18, the balance between risk and security. Too much risk can wipe out your wealth. Too much security can keep you from growing it. The secret is learning how to balance the two. Every financial decision involves a trade-off between risk and security. Risk means potential for growth, but also the chance of loss. Security means safety, but often at the cost of opportunity. The chapter explains that people usually lean too far in one direction. Risk takers chase high returns, often gambling on investments without considering potential downsides. Security seekers avoid risk entirely, keeping money in savings accounts or cash, which feels safe but loses value to inflation. Neither extreme leads to long-term success. The key is balance. The right balance depends on age and stage of life. Younger people can afford more risk since they have time to recover from losses. Older individuals may prioritize security to protect what they've built. Goals. Someone saving for retirement in 30 years may lean towards stocks, while someone saving for a house in 2 years should choose safer options. Personality. Comfort with risk varies. The best plan is the one you can actually stick to without panic. The chapter highlights that risk isn't always bad. It's necessary for growth, but it must be calculated risk, not blind gambling. Security, meanwhile, provides peace of mind and a safety net. Together, they create a solid financial foundation. A useful strategy is the barbell approach. Keep a strong base of safe assets like emergency savings, insurance, and bonds. while also investing in higher growth opportunities, like stocks or businesses. This way, you protect yourself from disaster, but still give your money a chance to grow. Risk grows wealth, security protects it. Both are essential. The right balance depends on age, goals, and personality. Avoid extremes. Don't gamble recklessly, but don't hide from growth opportunities either. Use strategies like the barbell approach to combine safety with growth. Transition to Chapter 19. Now that we've learned balance, risk, and security, let's explore how money connects to something deeper: happiness. In Chapter 19, we'll uncover the true relationship between money and well-being. Chapter 19, Money and Happiness. They say money can't buy happiness, but is that really true? The answer is more complex than yes or no. Money and happiness are connected, but not in the way most people think. Research shows that money does increase happiness, but only up to a point. Having enough to cover your needs, reduce stress, and create security makes life easier and more enjoyable. However, beyond a certain level, more money doesn't necessarily equal more happiness. Once basic needs and some comfort are met, happiness depends more on how money is used than how much you have. The chapter highlights key ways money can increase happiness. Buying freedom. Money gives you control over your time. The freedom to choose where you live, what work you do, and how you spend your days, creating X. Spending on travel, learning, and shared activities brings more joy than material possessions, which quickly lose their appeal. Reducing stress. An emergency fund or steady savings provide peace of mind, lowering anxiety about unexpected problems. Helping others. Generosity, whether through charity or helping loved ones, often boosts happiness more than personal spending. But money can also decrease happiness if misused. Constant comparison with wealthier peers creates dissatisfaction. Chasing luxury items for status often leads to emptiness, not joy. Overworking to earn more can sacrifice relationships, health, and fulfillment. The key insight is, money is a tool, not the destination. Used wisely, it enhances happiness. Used poorly, it can actually reduce it. Money increases happiness up to the point of security and comfort. Beyond that, happiness depends on how you use money, especially for freedom, experiences, and generosity. Comparing yourself to others reduces happiness, no matter how much you earn. Money should serve life, not replace it. Transition to Chapter 20. Now that we've explored how money relates to happiness, let's look at the bigger picture: how money shapes our overall life satisfaction. In Chapter 20, we'll see how to align money with meaning. Chapter 20, Money and Life Satisfaction. Happiness is about moments. Life satisfaction is about the bigger picture. And money plays a role in both. Life satisfaction isn't just about feeling good in the moment. It's about looking at your life as a whole and feeling it's meaningful and well-lived. Money contributes to this, but in deeper ways than simply buying things. The chapter explains that life satisfaction comes from three main areas where money plays a role. Security. Knowing you can handle emergencies, retire comfortably, and provide for your family creates long-term peace of mind. Security allows you to focus on life. Goals instead of constant financial stress. Autonomy. Money provides choices: where to live, what kind of work to do, how much time to spend with loved ones. Having control over your life path leads to greater satisfaction than being trapped by financial limitations. Alignment with values. True satisfaction comes when your money supports what you value most. For example, if contribution matters to you, donating or supporting a cause will feel more fulfilling than buying luxury goods. If growth matters, investing in education or experiences may bring deeper meaning. The chapter warns against chasing empty measures of success, like comparing net worth or possessions. These don't necessarily translate into life satisfaction. In fact, they can create stress, envy, and a constant sense of never enough. Instead, financial satisfaction comes from aligning money with a purposeful life, where spending, saving, and investing reflect who you are and what matters most. Life satisfaction is about long-term fulfillment, not just short-term happiness. Money contributes by providing security, autonomy, and alignment with values. Comparing wealth with others reduces satisfaction and fuels discontent. The real measure of success is whether your money supports a life of meaning. Transition to Chapter 21. Now that we've seen how money ties into life satisfaction, let's talk about something that can derail even the best plans. Financial stress. In Chapter 21, we'll uncover how stress impacts money decisions and how to overcome it. Chapter 21. The Psychology of Financial Stress. Money problems don't just drain your bank account. They drain your mind, your health, and your relationships. Financial stress is one of the most powerful forces shaping our lives. Financial stress is more than a temporary worry. It can become a chronic burden that affects nearly every part of life. Studies show that money worries are one of the leading causes: anxiety, depression, relationship conflict, and even physical illness. The chapter explains why financial stress is so damaging. Cognitive overload. Constant worry about bills or debt consumes mental energy, leaving less focus for work, family, or opportunities. Poor decision-making. Stress often triggers survival mode, leading to impulsive or short-term money choices like payday loans or credit card splurges. Health consequences. Stress raises blood pressure, disrupts sleep, and weakens immunity, creating a vicious cycle of poor health and more expenses. But the chapter also offers solutions for breaking the cycle. Awareness and acceptance. Acknowledge the stress instead of ignoring it. Naming the problem reduces its power. Practical steps. Build a budget, prioritize debt repayment, and create an emergency fund to regain a sense of control. Mindset shifts. Replace shame with problem solving. Instead of thinking, "I'm terrible with money," think, "I'm learning a." Step by step. Support systems. Talking with loved ones or seeking professional advice can reduce isolation and provide fresh strategies. One of the most important lessons is that stress often comes less from the actual amount of money and more from the uncertainty and lack of control. Even small steps toward clarity and planning can dramatically reduce financial anxiety. Financial stress impacts mental health, physical health, and decision-making. Stress thrives on uncertainty. Regaining control is the antidote. Practical tools like budgeting, debt repayment, and emergency savings reduce anxiety. Mindset shifts and support networks help break the cycle of financial stress. Transition to Chapter 22. Now that we've explored the weight of financial stress, let's look at its opposite: financial freedom. In Chapter 22, we'll uncover what true financial independence means and how to achieve it. Chapter 22, Financial Freedom and Independence. What does it really mean to be rich? For many, it's not about millions in the bank. It's about freedom. The freedom to live life on your own terms. Financial freedom isn't just about having wealth. It's about having choices. It means you're no longer trapped by paychecks, debts, or obligations that force you into decisions you don't want. Instead, money becomes a tool for independence. The chapter outlines different stages of financial independence. Stability, covering basic needs without constant stress. Security, building savings and emergency funds so unexpected events don't throw you off track. Flexibility, having enough to make meaningful choices like changing careers or taking extended breaks. Full independence, work becomes optional, not necessary. Your investments and assets provide ongoing income. One of the key insights is that freedom is relative. For some, it's retiring early. For others, it's simply escaping debt or having enough savings to take risks. True independence is about aligning money with personal values, not copying society's definition of wealth. The chapter emphasizes that financial freedom requires discipline, consistently saving and investing over time, patience. Wealth grows slowly. Compounding rewards the long-term thinker. Clarity, knowing what kind of freedom you actually want instead of chasing endless more. Another important point is that freedom doesn't mean never working again. Many financially free people still work, but on projects they love without worrying about money. Ultimately, financial independence is about time ownership. When you control your time, you control your life. Financial freedom means choices, not just money. Independence has stages: stability, security, flexibility, and full independence. Discipline, patience, and clarity are the keys to achieving it. True wealth is the ability to control your time and live by your values. Transition to Chapter 23. Now that we've uncovered the meaning of financial freedom, let's look at the next step: wealth building. In Chapter 23, we'll explore how to grow wealth strategically while avoiding common pitfalls. Chapter 23, Wealth Building Strategies. Building wealth isn't about luck or secret formulas. It's about consistent habits, smart choices, and patience. Let's break down the strategies that actually work. Wealth building doesn't happen overnight. It's a long-term process that requires discipline and clarity. The chapter highlights a few core strategies: earn more, spend wisely. Wealth begins with the gap between income and expenses. Growing your earning potential through skills, business, or career growth, combined with controlling lifestyle inflation, creates more money to save and invest. Save consistently. Even small amounts saved regularly add up through the power of compounding. Automating savings ensures you stay disciplined regardless of emotions or temptations. Invest for growth. Savings alone can't build wealth. Inflation erodes idle cash. Investing in assets like stocks, real estate, or businesses allows your money to grow faster than inflation. The key is diversification and long-term holding. Leverage time and compounding. The earlier you start, the more compounding works in your favor. $1 invested at 20 grows far more than the same dollar invested at 40. Time is your greatest wealth-building ally. Protect your wealth. Wealth isn't just about growing assets, it's also about protecting them. Insurance, emergency funds, and smart risk management ensure that one setback doesn't erase years of progress. Avoid pitfalls: chasing get-rich-quick schemes, overspending, or panic-selling investments are common traps. True wealth building is steady, not flashy. The chapter also emphasizes mindset. Building wealth isn't about greed. It's about creating freedom, security, and options. Your strategy should align with your values, not just numbers. Wealth comes from earning more, spending wisely, saving consistently, and investing smartly. Compounding and time are the most powerful tools for building wealth. Protecting your wealth is as important as growing it. Avoid shortcuts. Wealth building is slow, steady, and aligned with your life goals. Transition to Chapter 24. Now that we've explored strategies for building wealth, let's talk about something equally important: legacy. In Chapter 24, we'll discover how money choices today shape the impact you leave behind. Chapter 24, Legacy and Money. Money doesn't just shape your life, it shapes the lives of those who come after you. The real question is, what kind of financial legacy do you want to leave behind? Legacy is about more than inheritance. It's about the values, lessons, and opportunities you pass on. The chapter explains that legacy has two main parts. Financial legacy. This includes the assets you leave: savings, investments, property, or businesses. A strong financial legacy gives your family stability and opportunity, but without planning, wealth can easily be lost or misused in the next generation. Value legacy. Equally important are the lessons about money you pass down. Teaching children financial literacy, discipline, and responsibility ensures that they not only receive wealth, but also know how to manage and grow it. The chapter warns of the shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves cycle, where wealth built by one generation is lost by the third. The solution is to combine financial inheritance with education and values. Creating a meaningful legacy requires estate planning, wills, trusts, and clear instructions to prevent disputes. Generational education, teaching kids about saving, investing, and responsibility. Philanthropy, using wealth to contribute to causes that matter, leaving a lasting social impact. Living legacy. Don't wait until death to pass on wisdom or generosity. Share resources and lessons during your lifetime. Ultimately, your legacy isn't measured just by the money you leave, but by the opportunities, knowledge, and inspiration you provide. Legacy includes both financial inheritance and money values. Without education and planning, wealth often disappears in future generations. Estate planning, teaching, and philanthropy create lasting impact. A true legacy is not just what you leave for people, but what you leave in people. Transition to Chapter 25. Now that we've explored legacy, let's wrap everything together. In Chapter 25, we'll look at the final lessons: how to live wisely with money today while preparing for tomorrow. Chapter 25. Final lessons on money and psychology. After all the stories, lessons, and insights, what's the single best way to approach money? The answer may surprise you. It's less about numbers and more about mindset. The final chapter reminds us that money is not just a financial tool, it's deeply psychological. The way we think, feel, and behave around money shapes our financial destiny far more than technical knowledge alone. The author emphasizes a few final lessons. Enough is enough. Chasing endless more leads to dissatisfaction. True wealth comes from knowing what's enough for you and designing a life around that. Flexibility beats perfection. There is no perfect financial plan. Life is unpredictable, so the best plan is one that's flexible and adaptable as circumstances change. Behavior, knowledge. Many people know what to do financially: spend less than you earn, save, invest, but struggle to stick with it. Discipline, patience, and emotional control matter. Then raw intelligence. Time is the ultimate currency. Money matters, but time is irreplaceable. The goal of money should be to give you freedom over your time, to spend it with people you love, on work that fulfills you, and experiences that enrich life. Wealth is personal. There is no universal formula. Wealth isn't defined by society's standards, but by how well your money aligns with your values and brings you peace of mind. The chapter closes with a powerful reminder. Money is a tool, not the goal. It should serve your life, not control it. When used wisely, money can provide freedom, happiness, and impact far beyond yourself. True wealth is knowing what's enough. A flexible plan is better than a perfect one. Financial behavior and psychology matter more than knowledge. The ultimate goal of money is freedom over your time. Money is personal. Design a financial life that fits your values. And that brings us to the end of the psychology of money. From the role of mindset, emotions, and values to the practical lessons of saving, investing, and legacy, one thing is clear. Mastering money isn't about mastering math. It's about mastering yourself. If you found these lessons valuable, imagine what applying even a few of them could do for your life. Because in the end, money is not the goal. Living well is. You've been listening to the narrated novel. Remember, knowledge is power, but narrated knowledge is transformation. If this journey inspired you, share it, subscribe, and let's keep exploring the books that shape lives. Because in the end, the greatest novel is the one you write